This is a little mini update on last time's organisation for the male share house, but today we've got a bigger fish to fry, and that's the fridge right here. You can see from my initial inspection, it's exactly what a male share house fridge should be. There is basically no food in it, there are crumbs everywhere for some reason, nothing has ever been cleaned in its life. It's obviously a second-hand fridge, and I did ask the people living here, did you clean this when you bought the fridge? And silence was met, and I think we all know the answer. One thing I will give them credit for is this freezer. This is such a good freezer. But anyway, off to clearing the fridge door here. I know there was a bunch of magic I was doing there with the bottles. Just a bit of a close-up to see how dirty they are. All of them are really gross, and to be fair, the underlying problem with this fridge when I was going through everything was actually seeing that there were lots of things with different dates, and things were kept at the very back of the fridge and were not organised, which obviously leads to more and more food waste, and obviously losing money as well, which you don't want. Here I'm putting on my green gloves, which I use for my kitchen, and my rainbow sponge. Also didn't know it, but when I was cleaning this, I realized there was a water dispenser in the top left corner, which is never used, so I decided not to put it back in. I did tell them about this because why would you use it? Why would you keep it there if you don't use it? The house does not have one of those beautiful pure taps that give you nice water, but we just use a filtration jug, and we don't even keep it in the freezer. We just leave it out on the counter, so there's no need for that water thing. Definitely some tough stains here going through, wiping it all down. Sadly, I do not have a microfiber cloth for the kitchen. I was told to buy terry towels by one of my subscribers, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do some research into. I have such helpful comments. Even after my bathroom review, someone put down a whole comment explaining to me about cleaning products for the bathroom and why to not use detergent in the bathroom, which was really handy. And I've got like a little thing where I wrote it down to do some research into it to see what I want, because I do want to get good cleaning products, and I do want to make sure I'm keeping a sanitary household, and I'm learning which products are the best, because I definitely think I go for the cheapest thing in the store always, and I don't necessarily go for quality over quantity, which I should be doing. I think it's also difficult when lots of cleaners that I watch, particularly, they work in America, which has different products, like Barkeeper's Friend is what I'm always told to buy by cleaning influencers, but obviously here in Australia, we don't have Barkeeper's Friend. The best I can do is use baking soda. My auntie and uncle were over recently, and they were helping me clean the barbecue, and they were just gobsmacked for the fact that I did not have any Barkeeper's Friend. They were like, come on, Barkeeper's Friend. Nope, baking soda, and they just watched me scrub that thing for about an hour. Yes, it still got done, and there was a great barbie that we had, and they got to say shrimp on the barbie and everything. We did cook prawns on the barbie. I think Australian saying, let's put some shrimp on the barbie. Most people think they're lying, but we do put shrimp on the barbie, put them through some skewers, and it was really good. Obviously doing the dishes here, my sink is very tiny, so I'm not able to put them all in at once. I'm doing some weird half side, and then dry them off. I do see people with those massive sinks in their kitchen, and I wonder, does it really actually make your life better? Because I love having two sinks. I love being able to wash it on this sink, then rinse down the other, and I guess you can't do that in a really big sink. What surprised me as well is also the depths of some of those sinks. Like, it amazes me how deep they are. Get very much a hassle just leaning over in there all the time. And anyway, we're going here, taking that pot out. I was very afraid to look what was in that pot between you and me, because I was like, I don't know how long this has been here. And here we have our milk that was definitely expired. It was very solid. I'm definitely going through and going, wow, I've got lots of ingredients here. I can really use all of these to cook something for lunch. And then later on, when I do bake pizza, I am thoroughly disappointed by the amount of foods that I could not use, because they were off. They were just jars. They looked good, but they were not. I must say, when I first came to this house, I remember there was nothing in those two bottom drawers at the bottom, so I do think I've had some influence in making sure veggies are being used, and there's some takeout. That's lovely, been there for a while. Problems with this fridge that I noticed after was the fact that it's so dirty, you can't actually see really through the layers of the fridge. From this angle you obviously can, but as you can see going through, you can't see what's underneath each shelf. That and the top up of dirt everywhere means that it just wasn't very effective at actually getting the job done. And yes, we are going all out, taking every single shelf off of this thing here. You're looking at that big stain down the bottom? I was too. I was going, oh my gosh, what on earth is this? So I decided to do what any normal person would do. I'm going to tackle it last, because I did not want to do all that work. Definitely this process was very tiring. I'll show myself later actually, because I am absolutely sweating by the end of this. I've got sweat just dripping down my forehead and everything, because I was scrubbing for ages, honestly. Getting all the crumbs out of there. There were a lot of them down there. And if you're wondering what this thing was, as I started going in and actually scrubbing it in, it started to smell like a mixture of like pumpkin and carrot. So I'm assuming there was just some soup that was made at one point, but clearly spilled it down the fridge and was never seen again. As you can see, I'm bringing out my handy hot scrubber. This thing, I do have beef with this. I will go on a rant about this for a second. This thing is like a wooden scrubby thing, and it's made from like recycled plastic, so I was like, oh, this is so good. I'm being like an eco-girly. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a full-fledged eco-girly. I wish I was more, sustainable, but I'm not. But even though it had like cardboard on it and it was all sustainable, it had a zip tie that I'm sure was not eco-friendly sustainable. But it just ruined the whole point of trying to make sure you've got something that's totally recyclable. But anyway, that got the job done, and I'm just wiping everything off, and look how much better it's looking, especially at the top there. I'm honestly surprised that this fridge smelled as nice as it was when I started, because smelling it now, it just smells like flowers, and it's so lovely. And here I am absolutely sweating. I don't know if you can tell. Honestly, I wish the fridge stayed like this. It looked perfect, so nice and clean. I don't even want to go put the drawers back in. But there you go, I'm doing it anyway. This is where my sink really is put to the test, because these massive trays are not going to even fit in the sink. So I do some weird maneuvering around to try and make sure I'm getting them all nice and clean. And I did leave this because I want everyone to see I am changing the water, because it did get so disgusting. It was starting to turn orange for some reason. It was not very nice. You know what was nice? Going about with these things, this scrubby scrub sponge, it was so nice. Going back to sinks here, this rant, I wish I had a sink where you could lift up the top of the sink basically and move it around to clean everything. See those people clean their sinks and then use their sink to pick it up and go clean around the edges. I'm like, oh, that looks so nice. But today we have what we got, and we love what we got because we're very grateful for the house that we get to live in. Yeah, and why I am renting, I cannot make any changes, but if I was not renting, I'd probably make this sink like matte black or something. You know, I'd want a very slick kitchen. I'd want people to walk in, feel like I'm a single bachelor, when that is really not the case at all. As you can see, I did not have many places to dry all these shelves, so I've started leaving them actually across the sink here. I could have dried them as soon as I did it with a tea towel, but that's just more work, more mess later, and I didn't want to deal with any of that, so I just let them air dry. And if you're wondering about the audio in this part of the video, it's because my other half is behind me, talking to me about what they want for lunch, because this was perfectly at like 11:58 I was doing this, and I was telling them we will have it as soon as I'm done. So they had to wait for me to finish scrubbing all of these shelves before we actually went and ate something together. If that's not true love, waiting for your partner to scrub the fridge shelves, I don't know what is, honestly. And this is the last one here that we're doing for the... Whoa, everything fell off there. Do you like when I get shocked at my own video when I'm watching it? Finally, sometimes when I'm doing these voiceovers, I'm watching myself and I just want to stop talking because I'm watching myself and going, oh, that looks really nice and satisfying. But I think that just shows to you how much I do really like cleaning. Anyway, all those were done now, so there you go. There's my big drying rack that I've got there. There's water all over the floor, which I had to mop up later, sadly. This gave me time while it dried to cook dinner, and looking at all the food here, I was assessing what I could make. Yes, there's the stuff on the ground as well, that I'm being a bit lazy, so I made pizza. And again, I thought that I'd be putting like olives on this and some sun-dried tomatoes I found in there, but when I opened those packets, all of them smelled very bad, and I did attempt to eat one. It was very sour, so they all went in the bin. And I just had a lovely pizza here, but it was so nice. And here I am, trying to put it very aesthetically on the plate, and here I am trying to get the money shot, you see. Oh. Yeah, no, fail, but it all got eaten. Gave my cats a little scratch before we went back to work because, you know, rest is for the weak, and here we are back to work. Actually putting everything back in here, I was very confused. There were multiple times that I had to go back and keep working out where everything went. I honestly should have just gone back, watched the videos I filmed of where everything was placed, but I don't know why I didn't do that. And finally, the reward from the clean is getting to put everything back all nice and aesthetically. I do think this is definitely the reward I want. You see, I realized I couldn't close those jars there, so that shelf had to go. But I honestly think this frees up a lot of space because those jars were the only things that were still edible out of the jars. From the milk there, again, the dates are visible, so I was able to make sure that that milk got finished before it expired the next day, which you wouldn't have known if I didn't clean the fridge. So I haven't got any reactions for any of these things, but if you've ever been in a male share house, the guys walk home and go, oh, it looks different. Someone clean it? You know, and honestly, if not that, they won't even notice. They'll just be like, something's different. But I cannot put my finger on it. But yeah, I think they just thought I organized the fridge. They didn't actually know I took everything apart and cleaned it. I also want to say that while I'm on this topic, that I do not do all the cleaning in this household. I know it looks like I am, but I just ask if I can clean stuff because obviously I'm trying to film these videos. So I'm actually princess and my other half does all the cleaning in the household, so they're definitely a keeper, I must say. I don't know if any of you would have this exact same fridge model, but if you do not put the drawers in first. Put the top part in first, then do it. As you can see, I got the exact, I got the bottom drawer, the top, which was, yeah, I had to start all over again. I was just confused, man. I was so confused. There you go. Finally, I'm working it out that I've got to put this in and then click in the middle section and put the drawers in. But fridges are not my specialty, so I think it's okay that I couldn't get it.
Ooh, nice.
I was very happy there when I got that all clicked in. Time-wise, this clean definitely took like just over an hour, which is very doable if you've got time after work to go clean everything. And look at that, it's all see-through. Oh my god, the drawers are all nice. And now they'll be able to see exactly what they have to use in the fridge. Finally putting everything back in. You see I've got all the hummus up there. And watching this, I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if that's in the fridge. I could go eat that right now. Cheese, the hard cheese was chucked out, but some of the cheese was still edible by male perspectives. And here I am just making sure everything's nice and neat. Look at that, missing everything. It kind of create a cheese that's chocolate drawer there, but I'm not really sure that mini drawer is meant for. Making sure that the yogurt's all there, and you see this one's been used and the other one hasn't, so now they're in perfect order. And again, this butter's been used but the other one hasn't, so making sure that's all there. And some of the jars I did chuck out, but some of them were salvageable, so I did allow them to keep them. These were the ones that I tried to put on the pizza, but I ended up flushing them all down the toilet. And if you wanted to see that toilet pour, you didn't. So I decided that was very bad. Nope, would not. Everyone would have unsubscribed if they saw how bad that pour was in the fridge. And they would have also thought this house was cursed, because it was not a nice toilet pour. It was the stinkiest toilet pour ever. And I just cleaned that weird carrot and pumpkin steak, and I thought this toilet pour was worse than that. So there you go. I honestly love how little amount of food there is in this fridge, because it made cleanup so easy. If you'd seen my mum's pantry clean that I posted just recently, that was a lot of things I had to put back inside the pantry, and a lot of things I had to take out. So it was not as pretty organized as this one is. Just got some wine there. Making sure that everything's really nice and organized. No problem. Bread. Put that next to the butter, which I thought was pretty cool. And having a whole yogurt section up there. All this junk definitely should be put away. I do think sometimes it's hard when everyone's working full-time jobs. Just doing little things like putting things away after cooking or throwing things away in the fridge. It is just a little hard to do. Like that extra effort, that little bit of energy that you don't always have. It's okay. It does happen to all of us. And here I'm realizing that this is not toxic and I can actually put it in a Tupperware. It's just like a tofu sandwich spread that we make. So that's all good in the fridge next to the bread. And look, we found a wrap that was very hard, so it just went right in the bin. And finally giving this fridge a big scrub here. So much nicer going through it all. This was just covered in very, very grubby fingerprints. And the cup dispenser there was definitely very, very dusty. But again, it wasn't used, so I will allow them to have that. Most importantly, I'll know that it's cleaned. And I'm the only one that really matters in this house when it comes to cleaning. I even cleaned the recycling bin to the left there that you can see. But I did that beforehand. And here I am, still in my kitchen, realizing I've got these dishes I've got to do. So I did them. Yeah, I did them. And there you go. I just didn't want to film it for you guys. And now, look, we went from this disgusting fridge to this. Wow. Just the outside looked pretty. Remember, we did all of this. We turned this disgusting little part here to this. Look how nice that looks. All nice and clean. And yeah, now you can see through and everything. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.